Ngorongoro has, for the past almost 4 years, 5 years, has 4 years, has been facing evictions of the local Maasai people, the indigenous people that have been living there for, I would say, more than a century, and a myriad of issues, either political and also, economic being cited as the reasons why the Maasai are being evicted from that area. So we are joined by two gentlemen who are in Ngorongoro right now, and we're having this conversation about actually elections. Funny thing, the party that is evicting them still has people vying from Ngorongoro. So, karibuni sana, gentlemen. Joel Meitaya, this is not the first time we are with you, and we also have Bwana Lembeu, who can also quickly give us an update also from his side about the elections in Ngorongoro.
So basically, we do have we had elections the same day Loliondo had, and yeah, we have all the candidates from the ruling party.
Okay.
And those elections were concluded just 2 days ago.
Okay.
I think today, they were, announcing the winner in this opinion polls. Okay. And we do have the system of the ruling party. People don't really want to get out of it.
Okay.
Because, as my brother said, we don't really have a better option. Because even when we had this government couldn't allow, people from other parties to win. We have a very bad electoral systems. They are not really working on the interest of the people. So, yeah, people need to have at least somewhere to lean instead of just hanging on the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is what has been happening here.
We were having a conversation with Joel last time, and sorry, I think there's some keyboard sounds feeding in, Joel, on the call. But we are having a conversation about the evictions that have been happening in Ngorongoro. And if you're watching this now, please, you could also go to tinyteams.africa, and that recording is there. Now, Joel, there's a statement that he made and said that if the current president goes back, then it's almost guaranteed that no one will be left in Ngorongoro. And the elections, the preparations are here. They are local electoral representatives from Ngorongoro. What does that mean?
I want to say that the people of Ngorongoro have been here for so many years, not because of the leaders they are electing, into power, into positions of power, but because the people of Ngorongoro have stood up, themselves, and decline all these proposals, from the government. And even today, when Samia come into power, we are still optimistic, that we will be here. Just last year, August last year, we had our villages, being delisted from the list of polling stations in the country.
And I heard that people are registered somewhere else. Someone finds their name in Msomera.
Yeah. There is a place called Msomera, and that is a place where the government is proposing for people to relocate. But when people got into servers, they found their names in Msomera, and they're living in Ngorongoro. So it is actually very fun sometimes, and it is a terrible feeling that people who live legally in the area are being relocated, without their knowledge. You just wake up in the morning, you find your name in Msomera village. But people stood up, they protested, and after a long like 5 days of protesting, their names came back, to where they live, which is Ngorongoro. And so I will say we are not in Ngorongoro because of the leaders in power, but because our people stood, against all these oddities. And if Samia come in power again this October, it will be very terrible. We will live a miserable life, as we always had. But we will remain here. That is something that I am optimistic about. Yeah.
I think that's such a statement saying that whatever comes, whatever happens, we are sticking to Ngorongoro. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm speaking this as an indigenous person as well. I was born and raised in the plains of Kaputie in Kajiado, Kenya. And I would not imagine anyone telling me that, Jeremiah, this is not your home. Like, again, this is a different, legal structure that we have in Kenya compared to Tanzania. To you, what would be your wishes? And this is to Joel. What would be your biggest wish, for the leaders that have been running for these posts? You've already expressed your disappointment in them just, presenting their names and titles for those elective posts. But what do you expect from them?
Okay. First of all, let me say, not that all people who maybe are fighting through CCM party in its elections are bad or are evil people.
Yeah.
We have good people who have been standing, even those who are non-Maasai, who are just friends of ours, who have been standing with us despite all those challenges. But also, even in our community, despite of those who are supporting the party, not all of them are evil people or else who are bad people.
Yeah.
We do have also those patriots, people who come from our community. But most people, these people always say that let's remain in this party because we will have we will find a good platform to have an engagement with the leadership of the party, including the president, and those efforts have been taking place for so many years. Because even in Jakaya's time, there has been a lot of, high-level engagements. In Magufuli times, there have been high-level of engagements. In Samia times, again, there have been so many levels of engagements. But there is no result. There has never been any positive results about that. But, this issue of why people are fighting in CCM, while the same party is the same party that is oppressing us, I said in the beginning that it is very sad and it's very unfortunate. The problem we have now is as my brother said, is electoral, system and laws that govern, the whole issue of election. Because today, the main opposition party is championing for constitutional reforms in the country. They are gearing up about that agenda, and that is the main agenda of the country now. That if there is no reforms, constitutional reforms, there is no election. Because today, if you win as an opposition, leader, you will not be allowed to. You will not be declared the winner, because our electoral laws, they only favors the ruling party. And the laws we have now does not allow presidential result to be questioned or to be taken to court. There's nothing like that. So even if a person from CCM wins as a presidential candidate, and his or her results is questionable, nobody is allowed to question the results of the president, which were announced by the Electoral Commission. So those are the laws which the opposition party is, trying to say, at least we need constitutional reform so that we can get into election, so that we can compete in a fair and credible and honest ground.
What would it mean to have a constitutional reform? Because the thing that we understand here is, Tanzania is geared more towards a communist, way of governance. We all know Mwalimu, the first president, Julius Nyerere, who then championed, that we have to work together. But at those times, the Maasai hoped, or I think, did not have any problems with Ngorongoro. What does a constitutional reform mean for Ngorongoro?
It means a lot because, a country that is governed by constitutionalism, democracy, and the rule of law, a nation that respects the rule of law and democracy and human rights, it touches everybody. Whether you are a pastoralist, whether you are a farmer, whether you are a fisherman, whether you are somebody without an employment, whether you are just a local man, it matters a lot to your life. Because today, because in our last interview we talked about land laws and land regulation that governs, the land in the country.
Yeah.
They are very oppressive. That's why our people are being oppressed. Because of what? Not that maybe the leaders are not the ones who are evil, but because of the laws, the bad laws, the evil laws that oppress people. So we want those laws to be changed. We want reforms so that today nobody can tell you, for example, in Kenya.
Yeah.
Kenya is a good example. Nobody can have that audacity to come and tell you, vacate your land. The land you have been using, you have been living for so many years. Those are the laws, those are the reforms that we want.
You're in a cross-border region between Kenya and Tanzania as the Maasai community, and for the longest time, kisingizio kimekuwa kwamba, the Maasai from Kenya are the ones who have the cows there because of the porous border that, merges the bloodlines that cut between Tanzania and Kenya. I would say that this is, of course, a historical problem that was brought also by colonialism that split the community into two, because you and I are definitely brothers by, I'd say, tribe. What would you say would be the effect this will have, also with us being able to, interact with communities, with our brothers from Tanzania, and Tanzania being able to, interact with us from Kenya? What effect does that bring if this constitution does not?
During independence time, the time of Nyerere and Jomo Kenyatta.
Yeah.
In Arusha here, we have in Monduli district. This is in Arusha region. The district just bordering Longido and Ngorongoro, one of the other Maasai district in Arusha region.
I know Monduli because I knew the member of parliament. He was called Kalanga, I think.
Yes, exactly.
At some point, yes.
So, we do have, military trainings, colleges and bases in Monduli. We have so many. And they were set during, the Nyerere and Jomo Kenyatta's time.
Okay.
Why? The reason why those military schools and academies were set there is actually because so that they can curb the interaction of the Maasai of Kenya and Tanzania. And and recently there is another coming issue about, military setting a border camp in Loliondo that's bordering Bosmoru, ile Bosmoru ya Kenya na Tanzania.
Okay.
They're actually in a process of setting a military camp in that border so that they can curb they can limit the the movement of the people, of the Maasai people across the border, so that, they can carbon, because they have been saying that, the Kenyan people are wanaharibu hawa Maasai wetu, wanaambukiza mambo ambazo, tabia ambazo ni chafu. So they have been, going around those issues that, they consider like Kenyan people are bad people, are evil people, they have bad manners, they don't respect their leaders, issues za maandamano nini. So, so actually, even in 2022, they said that, those phones which were used by the people to take cameras when people are being brutalized, they were given by the Kenyan people. So
there was a pastor, a pastor actually, the MC who did my wedding. He was also arrested, and it was a very big struggle to, get him back. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Kuyoni.
Yeah.
Kuyoni was in custody for 28 days in Arusha.
Yeah.
He went to preach. He came to preach in Loliondo, just as, ilikuwa tu kawaida yake kuja kuhubiri, but akaambiwa you are coming to incite people to demonstrate, because he came when actually it was very hot still time, because it was just 2022, I think.
Yeah.
I think July, August, yeah, around there. So he spent a whole month in Arusha. So, so I think, yeah. So I was saying, it will have so much effect on our people, because we were one people, because actually before independence we had what we call Maasai land.
Okay.
And when we saw when you see now that map of Maasai land before 1920, 1910, back 18.
I think it goes to Dodoma right now. Sorry if I'm cutting you short.
Yes. Yeah. It is a very big map, the size of Africa. It was called Maasai land. But when you see now the way the Maasai land has been reduced into pieces of land, why? Because of people grabbing, Maasai land, governments into conservancies, into conservation areas. Now, when you try to combine the map of Maasai, even of Kenya and Tanzania, it is very small, because it has been reduced by, the issue of land grabbing into conservation areas, subdividing the land into, other privatization of giving other peoples from not even coming from the areas. So that has been the consequences. But I think when I come to your point, we intermarried. For example, you have somebody today, like somebody who marries a lady from Kenya, and a Kenyan guy may marry a lady from Tanzania. So, and we also interact on issues of business. Today, we, as the people of Loliondo, we have so many big livestock markets in Kenya. So if you cut that relationship with those people, you are actually cutting, you are actually destroying the lives of the people.
Because what I'm wondering on that case, sorry to cut you short, is if you move from Loliondo, Ngorongoro, go to somewhere, let's say Msomera, does that mean then that are there close ties between Kenya and Tanzania in terms of relatives? Does that mean that families will be split, or it's a clear cut that anyone that was Tanzanian moved their entire clan or family to Tanzania, or is it a cross-border issue?
Okay, Msomera from Loliondo is 400 plus kilometers away.
Okay, to paint that picture to anyone who's listening from Kenya, I think 400 kilometers is almost from here to Kisumu.
Exactly.
Nairobi to Kisumu.
So the idea of why Msomera was chosen to be a place to relocate, the people from Ngorongoro, is that so that they can be far away from the people of the other side of Loliondo who are not being evicted, because Loliondo is actually grabbing the land, but not actually evicting people away from that area. It's actually taking a piece of land from the land, the whole of the land they use. But the idea of why they relocate people from Ngorongoro to Mzomera is actually so that people cannot even have, the mindset of their brothers in Loliondo and even Kenya. So imagine being taken 400 kilometers, 450 plus kilometers away from your initial home. So you cannot even, it is very hard to travel back.
Yeah.
Because you will not even be allowed to come to Ngorongoro. You are told, what are you going to find to look in Ngorongoro? Nothing. So the idea is just to cut off actually the relationship of these people so that they cannot even have an idea of Ngorongoro has never been existed in their life.
Okay.
Actually, that is the idea.
Kaka, if we could just come to you, we've been speaking a lot about the recent happenings now in Ngorongoro, and you can see lots of developments, especially with these elections, quite surprising with also the people in the party. Question in my mind is, how significant are the votes belonging to the Maasai, knowing that it's not just about the Ngorongoro or Loliondo areas, there's Monduli, there's Arusha, and goes down all the way, I would assume, until Dodoma. And Maasai people are distributed along those regions. Does it mean that the Maasai votes are not as significant?
With the current electoral system, you don't even need anyone votes, to justify what you want to do.
Okay.
And you previously asked the question of, constitutional reforms on the Maasai, and I think we'll get to know that clearly when we get to understand what the land, is to the Maasai.
Yeah.
And for the Maasai, you can talk of the land, in various ways, spiritual wise, cultural wise, and cattle wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Maasai have a very great, attachment to land. You might know that for us, to pray, we need these forests, sacred trees, and even mountains. So if you move people out of these places, it means you are killing their own way of worship or pray, things like that. And cultural wise, the lands still have a very significant place in that. I live in Ngorongoro Conservation Area, which is one of the three, administrative divisions in Ngorongoro district. And that is where the famous Ngorongoro crater is located. And most of our listeners knows that Ngorongoro is for animals, wildlife, and things like that.
Yeah.
But it is also a place of cultural significance. We do have, for example, Angibara, and this is like a ceremony, which is performed for these adolescent boys who are ready for circumcision.
Yeah.
And before they get circumcised, they normally go to the bush, which is the crater's floor, spend a night there, undergo, some trainings on the new and future roles when they become warriors. So if you move people out of these places, you wouldn't be able to do all these cultural practices. And of course, we need land, for grazing. So without these constitutional reforms, we will still have all these conflicts of land grabbing and things like that. So Maasai votes are not, significant given the electoral system we have as of now.
Okay.
And that is why I said earlier in the beginning that we don't need leaders from CCM now to reclaim our stolen lands or to remain in the places we are. We just need to be firm as the community, as a collective group. Because if you look at an individual, for example, who is MP or MCA, we call them councillors here in Tanzania.
Yeah.
They won't be able to go against their party's ideologies. They'll remain loyal to the party that have, given them the chance, but not to the people who elected them.
Okay.
I can give you an example. For the past 4 years, we have had all the budgets, passed on. But here in Ngorongoro, we don't even have a cent of, the budget set aside for community development projects. So what is the vote for? If the vote you are casting will not help you to bring development, we have a very big problems, on healthcare, for example. Hospitals are not there. The schools are in bad conditions. So I can say without electoral, reforms, which are not there as of now, the Maasai votes is not, anywhere close to being important.
Okay. That's quite interesting to talk about, because you talked about Enkipata. And I know this because I'm quite involved with some UNESCO projects. So, Enkipata, Eunoto, Olngasher, those 3 male rites of passage were enlisted by UNESCO. And I keep finding myself mentioning UNESCO here because I see so much contradictions. But they were recently, I think last year, but one, added into the list of intangible cultural heritage of the Maasai that is in urgent need of safeguarding. And within that list, of course, there's this cross-border region. Mount Kilimanjaro region was also quite significant into that. And also crossing over and that sharing of, cultural sites as well. Knowing that Ngorongoro, as you've said, is also important for these things, Enkipata, Eunoto, Olngasher, and also UNESCO recognizing them as, items that are in need of urgent safeguarding is quite a contrast for me. I'm going to put a picture on our screen for those who don't know, Ngorongoro. I just made this one quickly, but I just thought it's very important for us to know what does Ngorongoro look like. So that's what I think that's the main crater.
That is Empakai crater, the small one.
This is a small one, and there is a bigger one.
Grazing is
Prohibited.
Has been prohibited here.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that is Empakai crater. It is one of the 3 craters found in Ngorongoro Conservation Area. We have the main crater, which is Ngorongoro crater.
Okay.
They call it a crater, but it is actually a caldera, given its size, mode of formation, and things like that.
Okay.
So we do have also that one, Empakai crater, and there is another one called Olmoti crater. Okay. When you are in the Ngorongoro crater's floor, but if you look at the northern direction, you can see a pot-like mountain on its northern side. Okay. And that is where Olmoti crater originates, from the peak, the top of that Olmoti mountain. And that crater is the source of Munge River, for those of you who have been there. And Munge River is the largest river that brings the fresh water into Ngorongoro crater's floor. So that is Empakai.
It's quite interesting.
And all these places have been very important for the Maasai, for so many years. If we talk about Ngorongoro crater, for example, apart from being a cultural place, and a wildlife-rich area.
Yeah.
We used to take also cows there for salt water, salt licks, and also grazing. But now the Ngorongoro crater and the adjacent northern highland forest were all prohibited. If you talk of Mbakai crater, it is also prohibited, plus Olmoti. I don't know if you guys have seen the photo that was circulating last year in social media of a young boy who was beaten and had all his, front teeth removed.
No.
That young boy was beaten in Olmoti crater, and it was in the evening while taking, his cows back to home.
And who did
So
that
that is
injustice?
Sorry?
And who committed that?
We do have rangers.
The rangers.
We do have conservation rangers from NCAA. We call it Ngorongoro Conservation Area Authority. And these are the people, who are responsible to enforce these restrictive laws on the people of Ngorongoro. So they are doing patrols both by foot or by using cars. And if they find you in one of these places, they'll beat you severely. They'll even, for example, that young boy who was removed all his front teeth was beaten by using the back of the gun and had all his teeth removed.
Oh my God.
So the rangers.
Yeah, it's very difficult to talk about these things because I think the intensity of what we are talking about is so great, and it's very difficult to also navigate the waters, knowing that I am not, Tanzanian, but I think there are some things that I think are important to bring to light. We'd like to probably wind this one out, wind this one up, but I think the latest from Ngorongoro, from what we have now or what we've discussed, is elections. Is there anything else that happened of late? Maybe this goes to Joel.
Wow. Okay. I think we have touched on the issues of the election and politics and so much, but as far as Ngorongoro is concerned, I think there are more issues that are coming in as we approach the election, because election has so many issues that comes along with it.
Yeah.
Because politics, some people say politics is live, so wherever you align yourself with, that's where your interests are.
Yeah.
And I think, as I told you earlier, that as far as the current regime is in leadership, and in probably that's what we expect, because if we will not have these reforms of constitution and Katiba Mpya, I think election, nothing will change. The same people will come in, the same party will come in, and the same government will come in. So we will expect a lot to happen probably next year, and we will expect a lot to happen, obviously, and because if you have the same people and the same party, the same government, the same people are the same people who will hold those the previous position which they have been holding, then you will not expect nothing positive apart from the worst will happen more. So that is it. And we have said that some people have said they will be the last people to leave Ngorongoro, and if it means to die, and then they will die. So you have seen how beautiful the land is. The lands look so much beautiful, and many people have committed to to defend the land. If it means a death to them, then let it be. So the land is just beautiful, just wow, and that's why some people are desiring the land so that they can put, their own businesses. They keep their own businesses running so that they can fetch a lot of money throughout from that land by putting lodges, by putting tourism businesses and companies so that they can fetch a lot of money through the land that God has given, the Maasai people. So I think that's what I can say for now, unless there is another issue that may come up.
I just want to say thank you for, I'd say, the bravery for speaking out on this issue. And I think this collective effort to speak on these online platforms, just as you've had our brother here joining us today, we started with you and we keep the movement going. Maybe if we all have, both of us have final words on this, it would be great. What are our wishes going forward? What are the next steps that we need to take regarding Ngorongoro?
I heard something about UNESCO, and I just want to say here that UNESCO is being very complicit in this matter. If you read the 2019 report, of the UNESCO about the status of Ngorongoro, they are recommending, on the evictions of the Maasai. They're actually telling the government to put more incentives to relocate. And that is, to encourage, the government to, to take people out. And this is where this idea of paying people to relocate to Msomera come from, the UNESCO recommendations. And you have said they're listing all these Maasai rites of passage in the, I don't know, World Heritage, list, but they're not being realistic. How can you put our rites of passage in your heritage list and you're encouraging the government in question to evict those same people, who own that kind of culture? So I think UNESCO need to do more to appreciate, the Maasai and the ways of life, because it has been proven time and time again that Maasai lives and their ways and their culture is very compatible, with wildlife conservation. So on UNESCO, I would like to say that we also have had some committees on land issues in Ngorongoro. And as of now, we are yet to receive the feedbacks, from the opinions and views that were gathered by those committees. But I just wish that they come positive, because people have spoken, although it is not showing any sign of, positiveness, because we had a very worrying speech, I think last month or so, when our president is, swearing in the new conservation commissioner. It was a very worrying speech, and I don't think there is anything positive coming out of that committee. But to my Maasai brothers, and sisters, the likes of Joel Meitaya, I think we need to tell our people the truth. Msomera is not a place to go at all. if you need to be a Maasai. But again, to remain optimistic that despite all these challenges, all these oddities, we shall win. We shall remain Maasai. And that is all I can say. And thank you again, my brother Joel Kipainoi, for hosting us today. I will be ready and I'll be willing to share with you what I know about our situation here anytime you call me in. Yeah, thank you.
Really appreciative of that. Joel,
Naam.
tufungie.
Nafikiri tumemaliza, lakini nafikiri we are in August and the Ngorongoro demonstrations took place on 18th to 23rd last year. So we will commemorate that 5 days of freedom, actually, because if it were not those demonstrations, actually, those people could have been voting somewhere else apart from their homes. And if it could have not been those demonstrations, if it could have not been people being on the road, and then we could have been telling you another different story. We could be focusing much on Msomera because people could have been voting in Msomera. So many people could have been living in Msomera by now. So I think it was a 5 day of freedom fighting. And actually, imagine 5 days, people sitting on the hill, being on the road without eating, without drinking, just praying God and, agitating for change. I think that is something that we need to commemorate and make it somehow an anniversary. So maybe we will submit a report or do something, a commentary about that 5 days, because it means a lot to the Maasai people. It means a lot to democracy and to rule of law and human rights. So I think as what we have done actually last year, yes, 2023, 2024, we have been also commemorating the 2022 situation, the June, what made us to meet actually. So we have been commemorating those events because they mean a lot to our people, they mean a lot to our lives. And I think as far as human rights is concerned, we will be fighting to ensure that reminding the government and those even doing it to remind that one day they have did this and they have did something that is very evil. So I think that's what I can say for now. And thank you again for hosting us the second day. We will be talking. This is really incredible to be part of this conversation for these 2 days. And I think as long as new things, new issues coming up, we'll be hosting and we'll be converging here to converse and talk about the issues that are touching our people, that are touching, the lives of our people, because if we will not talk, then nobody will talk on our behalf. So we are the real people who should talk about our issues, the issues of our people. We will not wait for anybody to talk about the issues that are affecting us, and we must talk. It is the issues that we must say, whether they hurt you, whether they hurt some people or not. We must talk because they are issues that we should talk. And I think these are issues. When we talk about these issues, I think they are very important issues that any other person could wish to talk in his or her community. So, because we have seen...
Your audio has gone down a little bit. Maybe you touch the microphone.
I was saying these are the important issues that we need. Anybody could wish to talk. If they are really happening in your community, even in the Kenya side, we have had issues of Orkiombo. And actually, I have seen one video of Dominic, somebody who has been talking about Orkiombo issue. Yeah. I think young people should come up and, try to bring change because we have some people who are very greedy about land,
they want just to grab. It is not only in Maasai today. It is not. We cannot only blame the government. There are people within our community. There are people who
I'm not sure if it's on my side, but you are saying so beautiful comments, but I'm afraid that the audio is a little bit. Check if you probably blocked.
I can hear you. I can hear you properly.
Yeah, check if you blocked. You held your phone probably on the microphone down here, so maybe.
No, I can hear you properly.
Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just that the sound changed, but it's fine.
I was saying, it is time that the young people should come up and talk about very critical and very important issues touching the lives of our people. Because today, the most oppressed community, at least in Kenya and Tanzania, are the Maasai people. Not because they are weak, not because they are children of a lesser God, not because they don't have educated people and men and women. It is because the culture that has been built by people of the past, that these people maybe they cannot defend themselves. They are not knowledgeable to know what is the truth, what is wrong. So I think if you see the issue of Orikiombo today, you can see young people coming up and defend their land. But those politicians are just silent. Other old people are silent. But when young people come up and talk about critical issues of land, because the most issue, when you talk about land in Maasai community, you are talking about the heart of the people. You are talking about the heart of that community. Because with that land, you cannot talk about the Maasai people.
Yeah.
It is actually life to them.
Yeah.
So if you touch anything concerning land to them, you are touching actually the heart of their life. So I think it is very high time that we come up to discuss about issues like this. So I'm saying this because, it is something that is, very emotional to talk about. So I'm just calling upon young people everywhere of the Maasai community. Tuamke, tusimamie haki ya watu wetu. Hakuna mtu atakuja kutusemea, hakuna mtu atakuja kutupigania, kwa sababu we cannot blame the government only. There are people, even our leaders, the people who call themselves leaders in our community, who are becoming part and parcel of this, evil actions against our people. In 2022, we have had so many people who became part and parcel of, the violation of the rights of our people. We have had so many people in that time who supported the government move and saying the government, they blessed the action of the government. They say the government is doing the right thing. They put conservation a priority more than the lives of their children, more than the lives of their kids, more than the lives of their people, but they keep on blessing the government's evil actions against their people. That's not right. We will not continue to, entertain those people. We must come and address. We must come and address and say this is enough. We cannot keep living and saying like, why Maasai only? Why the land of these people only? Why not other people? Every year we hear about land is being grabbed in Kenya, land is being grabbed in Masai Mara, land is being taken in Kajiado, land is being taken in Ngorongoro. Why about these people only? Why not other people? I think these are the issues that we must talk, and we need to debunk this falsehood about only why the Maasai. So I think it is a conversation that we must continue to have as far as the issue of our people is concerned, so that we continue to educate people on what is going on, what is happening, because we have so many millions of our people, thousands of our people who don't know what is going on. Today, if you talk about Ngorongoro, there's somebody who may come up and say, I've never heard about Ngorongoro. 4 years down the line, a lot has happened in Loliondo. There are so many people who have never heard about that. Ngorongoro the same, or Kiombo the same. There are people who are not, who are not assessing this information. Why? Because information is not given out. Those who have information, they are not giving out information. So I think information is good, and these are the platforms that we need to converge and talk about critical issues pertaining our people. So thank you, brother. I think see you again. Until next time.
Really appreciate. I respect
Yes.
the bravery as well. And I'd like to say, keep at it. We will do what we can from our end and keep this conversation alive. I think many a times we're talking about conversations, and now it's turning up to be mostly conversations about conservation. Where is the lie? Where is the truth? Is the question that we have to answer. My name is Jeremiah Kipainoi. Today we're with two amazing gentlemen from Ngorongoro in Tanzania, and just discussing what are the issues that are affecting them right now, even as we head towards elections. I'd like to say kwaheri for now. I'll see you in the next one. We'll keep the Ngorongoro story alive. Kwaheri.